commissioners, members of the European Parliament, distinguished guests. I am delighted to be here representing my organization, WWF, as one of the joint originators and sponsors of this conference. 12 years ago, we co-hosted a similar gathering, also held here in the European Parliament, and also co-sponsored with the European Commission and Club of Rome. It was called Taking Nature into Account. We argued then for a whole new range of measurement tools to help our policymakers and political leaders to chart a path to sustainability. We likened it to a dashboard in a car. We argued that society needs a vast new array of dials and instruments next to the steering wheel in order to be able to measure how fast the planet is traveling. We need to know how much fuel we have in our tanks, the engine work rate and temperature, the oil pressure, the water levels, tire pressures, and so on. The call is the same now as it was 12 years ago, only more urgent. We need to know, we now need to move beyond our reliance on limited, though well-known dashboard indicators like gross domestic product. We need, in other words, to move beyond conventional economic accounting. We are calling for new ways to measure and record progress so that we can take the necessary corrective measures to set a more wise development path. Societies cannot continue to operate as if the planet was a business in liquidation. We cannot continue to turn our backs on pollution and call it someone else's problem. We cannot continue to call income what in reality is resource depletion. We cannot claim economic success for development patterns that leave hundreds of millions of people marginalized and which stoke the fears of resentment and conflict. The WWF mission is to build a future in which humans live in harmony with nature. Obviously, we have a great deal of work to do to meet that challenge. Our way of living is not only threatening the health and diversity of our planet's species, but has become a huge threat to human survival as well. WWF has been publishing the Living Planet report biennially over the last decade. In these reports, we have been calling attention to the fact that we are now in what we call ecological overshoot. In plain terms, this means we are using more resources and emitting more waste than our planet can handle. Reversing these trends is WWF's goal. To better understand the distance to our goal, we are using two measures. The first is the Living Planet Index, now being further refined jointly with the Zoological Society of London. The Living Planet Index is a kind of Dow Jones index of nature. It measures the health of our planet's biological diversity. It summarizes population trends of more than 1,000 300 vertebrate species around the world, in the sea, on the land, and in freshwater ecosystems. It documents a 30% decline in the average population size of vertebrates since 1970. Quite simply, biodiversity suffers when our planet's ecosystems cannot keep up with the human rates of consumption and waste generation. This is now happening at a rate unprecedented in human history. The second complementary measure tracks human demands on the planet. For this, we use the Global Footprint Network's ecological footprint, a resource accounting system that measures how much nature we have and how much nature we use. This allows us to compare human demand against nature's available supply. Nature's supply is comparatively easy to quantify. We have one planet Earth. Human demands has grown rapidly. In 1961, humanity used half of our planet's ecological capacity. According to the most recent data, just over 40 years later, humanity's demand now equals 1.3 planet Earths. These calculations apply to nations and regions as well. For example, Europeans use 2.6 times more than Europe's ecosystems can provide. If everybody in the world consumes resources and expends waste at the same rate as Europeans, we would need close to 3 planet Earths to sustain these lifestyles. And if everybody lived like the average American, we would need more than 5 planets. Such ecological deficits are possible because nations' important resources from other countries, political agencies, are here to help us chart this path. It is important, too, that the European Union institutions and member state governments, represented so strongly here, are putting their progressive environmental policy positions to the test. We simply will not know if carbon dioxide reductions, energy efficiency gains, renewable energy targets, the operation of a carbon market, and halting biodiversity goals will be reduced or will be reached, or if not, how we can measure them and place the results firmly in the front of the leaders setting these ambitions. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, it is almost certainly the case that those countries and regions with surplus ecological reserves are not the ones relying on continued ecological deficit spending, which will emerge as the robust and sustainable economies and societies of the future. If this is the case, then it is also true that the GDP indicator does not capture this vital information. Of course, measuring the performance of our economies is important, but economies are a means, not an end. The decision leaders in governments and industries of today, never mind tomorrow, need to know how our ecological and social assets are performing just as much our economic ones. I trust that this conference will give us some guidance in this respect. I thank you for your attention.